This is the PR Podcast, a show about how public relations helps you tell your story to the world. We talk with great PR practitioners who have the skills, creativity, and just plain savvy to get their clients noticed. Now here's your host, Jody Fisher.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the PR Podcast. I'm Jody Fisher. Thanks for joining us. Well, here we are. It's episode 100, and I gotta apologize. It's been a minute. It's been like 4 or 5 weeks that I've been hesitating to record this episode, and I literally had just opened up the microphone 45 seconds ago, and I figured I'd started talking because I had to get this episode done. You know, episode 100 got in my head. And I had all these kinds of designs about how I was going to go back and I was going to pull clips from past shows and we were going to do this big montage and, you know, there were going to be fireworks and skywriters and everything. And it did not come together, like I said, because it all got in my head and I just couldn't wrap my brain around how to do it right because I didn't want to mess it up because this show is so important to so many of you. And I say that because you've told me that. And so rather than try to mess it up, I'm just opening up the mic here and I'm just sharing some thoughts and sharing some gratitude for episode 100. So then we can move on to episode 101 where we get back to talking to guests. That has been the amazing thing to me. Like I said, that you all have shared with me and I am grateful for it. You know, I started this show a couple of years ago right here in my garage where I still am. And episode 1 was a pilot episode just to see what recording a podcast would be like. Go back and listen to it. It sounds awful. And episode number 2 was with our good friend Steve Hawili, who's no longer with us. And we got some knowledge from him. But from that jumping off point, it grew into these terrific conversations that I had with people who I love and admire, people I know. And it grew from there into people actually contacting me and saying, hey, I want to be on your show too. And I can't believe the good fortune that I've had to meet so many wonderful new people who I never would have met if not for this show. People like Molly McPherson, people like Tanya McKenzie, people like Debbie Ellickson. And we've had wonderful people on like Roger Clark from New York One and Steve Kastenbaum, who is a good friend of mine going all the way back to our desk assistant at 1010 Wins days. Tim Sheld, news director at outgoing WCBS news director. Wonderful, wonderful people who all play this critical role in how news gets made. And that's what we define this show as. You know, this is the PR podcast and it's built for PR people, but it's about the way that news gets made. And I'm a former newsroom guy. I'm a former radio guy. And I love talking to reporters. I talk to reporters all day long, but I still consider myself a reporter too. Yeah, I'm a PR guy, but I still have that reporter DNA in me and it's not letting go. And that's why I love having these conversations with people because that's what a reporter does. A reporter goes out and finds people and talks to people about stuff and listens to people and then tells those people's stories. And that's what we do as PR people. And that's what I try to do here on this show. So I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much to everyone who listens, to everyone who sends me feedback, to everyone who pitches themselves as a guest or sends their PR podcast plug in to get themselves plugged. I'm so grateful that you guys like what you're hearing. Grateful that you give feedback and let us know that we're doing a good job and that we're brightening your day and that we're starting your week off right. You know, when that episode drops every Monday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern time, it is a lot of fun to do. It's a lot of fun to bring you these conversations. It's a lot of fun to hear from you about the way these conversations are changing you, changing what you do, helping you run your businesses better. You know, several people have told me that, and I can't tell you how grateful I am to hear that. When people come on and they tell me, you know, I listened to your podcast, and it gave me this terrific idea that I went and I ran with, and I'm growing my business, and it's awesome. That makes me feel so good. That is more than any paid sponsorship that of this podcast that anyone could give me. By the way, if anybody would like to sponsor an episode of the PR podcast, please drop a line. But in all seriousness, love doing this show, love bringing you these conversations. Thank you so much for being a part of this podcast, for being a part of my life. And I'm looking forward to bringing you as many conversations in the future as I possibly can. So with that, we are going to close out this very, very, very delayed episode 100 of the PR Podcast, and we will see you next week with episode 101 and a brand new slate of guests. So thank you, everyone, for listening. Please remember to subscribe to the show, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and TikTok at The PR Podcast, and send us a question or a comment. Our intro is by Christopher Appold. You can find him and his fantastic photography on Instagram at Christopher_APPOLDT. Check him out there and hire him for all your photography needs. You can find me online at Jody Fisher on all the socials and on the web at jodyfisherpr.com. We'll see you next time on the PR Podcast.